Yes, so yeah, we've gone into this new phase in our exploration of meditation. We'll be calling the anatomy of awareness. So yeah, the idea is that awareness might have some kind of anatomy to it, some kind of structure that we can look at, um, take a look at. So yeah, last week, we were sitting down in our chair and hopefully noticing that awareness is just here. It's just present. And talked about the analogy with the sun coming up every day, and lighting everything up indiscriminately. So the sun lights up all objects, be they so-called beautiful, so-called ugly. And awareness is the same. It lights up our experience, as it were. So everything that we see, hear, feel, think, smell, taste, sense, perceive, is all accompanied by an awareness. In fact, how could it be otherwise? We wouldn't be able to experience it. But we often neglect, as it were, this aspect of our experience, perhaps because it is so just kind of intrinsic to us. And then we also talked about how that experience of awareness just being here, that we can have, or we are having every day, and that we can become more conscious of if we sit down, as it were, deliberately to be conscious of it, that it's obscured by things. The experience of pure awareness, if you like, not putting too much emphasis on that pure. Pure is, in a way, no different from just what awareness is. It gets obscured by, generally by our thinking and emoting mind or self. So, yeah, and that forms into various different kinds of patterns in our experience that can seem to obscure this awareness that is just present. And we also had a look at, whether any effort is required to experience awareness, or whether awareness is just something that is effortless. It's true that we may apply effort to see beyond the obscurations, as it were, to clear the space for awareness to be there. But awareness in and of itself is effortless. We don't have to do anything when we wake up first thing in the morning and start to, as it were, come alive and see and experience and hear. It's just happening completely effortlessly. And we also had a look, yes, at whether awareness leaves anything out in our experience, whether it discriminates or not. And hopefully, we saw that it doesn't discriminate. Awareness is undiscriminating. It allows everything to be as it is, simply as it is in this moment. The mind then comes in and tries to chop up our experience. In fact, I would say that's primarily what the mind does. It chops our experience up into chunks, gives names to it all. And what is, essentially an undivided unified experience of life, which awareness, which is awareness, gets chopped up by the mind into these bits, and then we try to analyze and deal with the world through this sort of chopped up version of it, this sort of sauerkraut version of life, which is full of all this stuff that we're trying to get some kind of control over, some kind of idea or some picture of. But awareness itself, when we rest back into it, it doesn't have anything to do with any of that. It is quite happy just to experience what we're experiencing. So today, I thought we could have a further look and try and, in a different way, kind of come closer to the experience or the knowing of awareness, which really means awareness is kind of knowing of itself. So we've got all of our experience going on, and Buddhism often tries to sort of divide up that experience in various ways to make it helpful for us to see it. So you've got, for instance, these what are called the 5 skandhas. Skandhas means like heaps within which our experience can fall. Things like form, experience of form, experience of feeling, experience of perceptions of various kinds, of mental formations, all our thoughts, memories, etc., emotions, and even consciousness itself. Another way it splits that experience up is into the 6 senses. So, eyes, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, and consciousness itself. So, we're going to have a look today through our 6 senses and try to see what it is that knows our experience. So everything we experience in one way or another comes, through our 6 senses. But what is it that knows that experience of our senses? I'm not talking about anything special here. It's just our ordinary senses that we're familiar with, that are operating all the time. What is it that knows those 6 senses? Okay. So I think I'm just going to leave it there, and we'll explore this practically through the meditation. So I hope that's making some kind of sense. Don't worry if it's not. I mean, this is a meditation class. The best way to learn about things is through directly experiencing. Okay, so if we want to set ourselves up, all right, I will just say one other thing. I will just say one other thing. We have talked about this before, this idea of direct experience. It may seem obvious to you, and this may not be a problem, but sometimes we can get caught up in not knowing exactly what is meant by direct experience. So when I'm saying, look in direct experience, what is going on, say, in your body, we can have an idea of what the body is and what the body looks like and what what the body does, etc. And that mental kind of construction or mental idea of the body gets overlaid onto our experience. So it's a bit like the difference between the experience of smelling an orange or tasting an orange and the mental idea of it. So if I say, now, and we can just do this briefly, What does an orange smell like? What does an orange smell like? So probably the mind is reaching around for some kind of memory, in this case, some kind of olfactory kind of memory of what the smell of an orange is like. And it does its best, it comes up with some sort of reproduction of that experience. But what is the experience of actually smelling an orange? And can we just be aware, of how different the actual experience of smelling an orange is, um, from that memory of it? I mean, probably I could bring a bunch of oranges if we were actually in the Buddhist center and just give you the orange, and you could then know the difference between the actual direct experience of the orange or the smell of the orange and our mental kind of construction of it. So when we, talk about the body, for instance, we are trying to see what is actually there in our direct experience without any kind of mental construction, mental idea of what the body is or looks like or feels like, etc. So that's what we're talking about when we talk about the idea of direct experience. And that applies, that idea of direct experience applies to a way of looking that is not mental. It's a way of looking, well, essentially, it's a way of looking from awareness rather than looking from the mind. So, okay, that was just a little recap of that. So I hope that's clear for people. And now we can set up for meditation and start our getting into meditation posture, whatever's working for you at the moment. It might be, in this online lockdown phase of our lives, that you might end up sitting in a chair, or even if it works for you, lying on the floor, or whatever works for you. Just trying to become aware of how the posture, how it is we're sitting, whether or not it's supporting meditation practice. You need to be comfortable, first and foremost. You need to feel that the posture is stable and supporting us. We can relax into it, not, in a sense, have to be concerned about the posture. And that it's also leaving us feeling that we're alert enough to pay attention to our experience. And turning that light of attention, the light of awareness inwards, taking stock of our mental, emotional landscape at the moment. So sometimes I start a meditation just asking the question about whether I want to be here or not, whether I'm happy to be here meditating, happy to be with my experience as it is in this moment, or whether there's something within me that doesn't want to be here. There is part of us that doesn't want to be here. Can we just allow that? Allow awareness just to expand beyond the experience, not wanting to be here. Just holding that experience within the arms of awareness. The blue sky is always larger than the clouds that arise in it. We are happy or content or okay to be with just this moment, the here and now experience. And maybe there's some sense of lack, some background feeling of something lacking in their experience. And we allow ourselves just to acknowledge that if that's the case. It may manifest as a restlessness. It may manifest as wanting to push away from our experience, to get away from it. It may manifest as to pull something into our experience that isn't here. Some idea, some thought, some fantasy, some desire for something that's not here. But again, like the blue sky, you just see this sense of lack, and it appears as cloud within the blue sky. Whilst we're aware of something, we are, at that moment, say, bigger than that thing. If we like, we can use that image of the mother's love, mother holding the child, mother's loving awareness, whatever's arising in our experience. As the child. So we're going to start by coming down into the sensate body. So unhooking from the thinking mind, coming into the sensate body. Come into the sensations in the jaw, face, and the eyes, the lips. So all of these words, eyes, lips, face, conjure up images which are mental formations, thoughts. Can we experience the face, the eyes, the lips, the jaw, purely from a sensate point of view? So looking and being receptive to our actual physical experience. So when this starts to happen, it's like we are looking from the experience itself. We're not looking down from the head or looking up to the head from the experience. We are, in this case, with the sensate body, we are in the sensate body. Awareness is in the sensate body. So we'll go down, as we often have done, to the lower abdomen, the hara. So looking for the sensations in the neck and throat. In the upper chest. The area around the diaphragm, bottom of the rib cage, and then down into the lower abdomen. If we are able to come into the sensations of the lower abdomen, again, it should feel like we are, as it were, looking from that part of the body, not looking from the head down, or even looking from the abdomen up to the head for any guidance or answers, but simply there in the sensate experience of the lower abdomen. Seeing, knowing what is there. Looking, or allowing awareness to spread out from the lower abdomen and take in the whole sensate body in the same way, looking for the pure sensate experience. So we're going to, from here, take in the other senses as well. So in some way, just staying, while still staying with the sensate experience, we also open our experience up to sound. And some of that experience of sound seems to come from outside, but they're also the internal, what seems like internal experiences of sound, sounds within the body. You may have a ringing in the ears, and though we may have our eyes closed, there's some experience of sight still going on. So there's light on the eyelids, might be kind of floaters on the eyes or blotches of colour, shapes or patterns of various kind. And probably at the moment there's not much going on with taste or smell, but there may be. And then also taking in the mind sense, maybe being able to notice how the mind is actually a sense. And things are arising in that dimension of experience in a way no differently to how sounds might arise or visual sense experience might arise. Thoughts in the form of words, images, memories, they too are like clouds appearing and disappearing in the blue sky. Noticing there may be a pull towards some of these thoughts or images that are arising. And seeing if we are getting pulled in, if we can just step back into the blue sky, allow them to just arise and disappear like clouds. We're going to look and see if we can notice what it is that sees and knows our experience. So all of this experience is here at the moment through the six senses. But what is it that knows this experience? So don't worry about this question at the moment, it's just rhetorical. We're going to explore it through our direct experience. So coming back again to sensation, the sensate body, being aware again of that part of our experience. And also aware of sound. So can the sensate body know sound? Is it the sensate body that knows we're experiencing sound? Being careful not to get into a mental dialogue about this. It's not something we're trying to solve mentally or even can solve mentally. And coming out of focus on the sensate experience and coming into focusing on the visual aspect of our experience, the light on the back of the eyelids, the shapes, everything that's known in our visual experience at the moment. And is it that visual part of our experience that knows sound? Can sight know sound? Again, not slipping into a intellectualizing about it. It may appear very simple, or it may appear just like an insoluble kind of question. Can sight know sound, or are they in some way distinct? Sound is known, sight is known, the sensate body is known. So then moving attention, awareness to the thinking mind, to thought. Is it thought that knows sound? So thoughts can have all sorts of thoughts about sound, but is it the thing that knows sound? Is it the thing that knows I am hearing? Or does it seem apparent that thought can't know sound? It's not thought that knows sound, or sense, or sight. So if thought can't know sound, sight can't know sound, what is it that knows we are hearing? What is it that knows we are sensing? What is it that knows we are thinking? Is it possible to turn and see the one who knows? Sight, sound, sensation, thought. All of these aspects of our experience through the senses can appear as objects, something known. But who or what is the knower of all experience? And does that knower or that knowing, is it be able to be seen as an object? Or is it just the seeing itself? Like the eye that can never really turn and see itself because it's one that does the seeing. Or like the hand that can never grasp itself because it's the one that does the grasping or the touching. Okay, we'll take a break for a few minutes and come back for our discussion at 5 past.